Today, on Be Something Wonderful, what they didn't tell you about creating your own reality, a must-watch. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning and welcome back to the studios of Be Something Wonderful. Powerful video today. This comes on the heels of yesterday's video, where we talked about this idea that there's nothing out there. There's no out there. So putting your focus, trying to make something happen in 3D. We've talked about that in many different ways, but it really clicked with one of my clients that I had a session with yesterday afternoon. Here's what she said, and we're going to uncover these ideas today and more. She said, I get it. It's not to create a physical experience out there in the future, but to know I am the physical experience of reality now. Oh my God, I'm 3D reality. This blows my mind. Now we're gonna link yesterday's video so you know what we're talking about, but we're gonna unpack this in a different way today. We also get into the idea of the question of desires and desiring. Why am I always desiring? When will the desiring end? Well, we're going to talk about this. And she goes, now I understand what you mean when you talk about desire as a divine urge. I've talked about that, right? The idea that desire is your divine urge to know yourself as source. But we're going to really look at this in a way that we never have before. So let's hit it. Remember, creating your own reality is not about imagining, assuming, and affirming your wish fulfilled, and then waiting for reality or 3D to change to give it to you or be who you want to be. That's not the purpose. Some of you are going, I thought that's the purpose of 3D reality. That's not what's going on. Imagining, assuming, and affirming is about giving yourself, giving your desire and fulfillment to yourself, knowing that reality, your experience, has changed in the assumption of it. Hear it again. This is it. So creating your own reality is not about imagining, assuming, and affirming your wish fulfilled and then waiting for reality to change, waiting for something to change to give it to you or to be who you want to be. Rather, imagining or assuming and affirming is about giving your desire and fulfillment to yourself, knowing that reality, your experience, has changed in your assumption of it. Do you see it? Reality changes in your assumption of it. As you give yourself that desire and that fulfillment, reality changes in that assumption of it. So it's not about trying to make a change, waiting for change or something to change, for something to give it to you. You give it reality. I've talked about this in a few videos now. That's the law of assumption. Right? It's not getting reality to be something different. Hear this. But to know it is different because you are. It's different in your assumption of it. Wow, hear it again. So it's not getting reality to be something different, but to know it is different in your assumption of it. To know it is different because you're different. Wow. That's powerful. We're going to hit this today like we never have before. It's not about the judged good or bad outcomes, right? That you're looking at the outcomes or the conditions or the stories or the appearances, right? You're looking at, well, this is a success story. This is not a success story. So it's not about the judged good and bad outcomes, the judged conditions, the judged stories, whether they're a success or not, or the judged appearances. Rather, it's about imagining, assuming, affirming that you are that which you want to be, that new identity, and seeing all outcomes, all conditions, all stories, and all appearances from that version of you and reality, from that new version, from that new vantage point, that new viewpoint, that new perspective. That's what it's about. That's powerful. That's what Jesus meant by do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. And I've said this many times. We're going to say it again in a different way. The message is not to judge appearances. In other words, the physical 3D experience of reality. but to see and experience it as you would like it to be, not as it appears to be. That's powerful. Let's hit it again. That whole idea of not judging by appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. The message is not to judge appearances. Jesus is not saying you shouldn't judge appearances and condemning you. Jesus is saying that you cannot possibly judge experiences, right? So the message is not to judge appearances or the 3D physical experience of reality, but that to see and experience reality as you would like it to be, not as it appears to be, your ideal. That was always the message, right? Well, let's hit that a little bit more. Jesus is not saying don't judge appearances. He's saying that you can't possibly judge changing outcomes. You can't possibly judge changing conditions. You can't possibly judge changing stories and appearances righteously from your less than 0.1% view of physical manifested reality. Remember, you're only ever perceiving less than 0.1% of what's actually going on. That seen manifested reality. So it's not about 3D reality, it's about you. This is what she got. That's why Jesus in The Chosen, in that scene at the pool of Bethesda, I'm not asking about the conditions. I'm asking about you. It's not, and again, no one ever said, I know a lot of teachers teach this, even some of the spiritual greats. Talk about the idea of ignoring 3D, avoiding 3D, changing 3D, tolerating 3D, fixing 3D, healing 3D, getting rid of 3D. It's not about any of that. 3D reality is where the action is, literally. It is all of your reality. So it's not to avoid any of that. You're here for that physical experience. So what is it about? It's about choosing and deciding. In other words, imagining, affirming, and assuming who you decide to be, then allowing the physical 3D experience and reality to rearrange and form around who you're being. While judging all changing conditions, appearances, stories, outcomes, all changing conditions righteously. In other words, judging them as knowing that it's coming from that new identity. So they must be rearranging around who you're being, this new identity. That's powerful. One more time. It's about choosing and deciding, imagining, affirming, and assuming who you desire to be. Then allowing the 3D physical experience and reality to rearrange itself and form around who you're being while judging all changing conditions righteously, all changing stories, appearances, and conditions and outcomes righteously. It's not about applying the law and then ignoring or tolerating 3D reality. We've talked about that, right? It's that you are the law. It's that you are reality. This is what dawned on my client. It's not about applying anything or ignoring anything or avoiding anything or fixing anything. It's about that you are the law. That's why Jesus in that scene that I said on either yesterday's video or the video day before, that scene from The Chosen where Jesus says, I am the law of Moses. In the pool of Bethesda, that scene, he goes, I'm asking about you. Not about how you're applying the law. Not about how you're dealing with 3D conditions. Remember, God, source, the law, reality of the world can't give you what you're not already giving yourself. What you deny yourself, it can't give you. Imagining, assuming, affirming is about giving it to yourself. Right? Imagining your wish fulfilled is about giving yourself your desire. It's the giving of self to self. It's self-contemplation, or what some call self-concept. We hear so much about self-concept, about to heal it and fix it and change it and battle it, but it's just you contemplating yourself as source, as the one and only creator of reality, as the one and only reality. Wow, it's about giving yourself to yourself. Wow. So the idea is not imagine, assume, affirm, and then wait. Wait for something to change. Wait for something to happen out there. Do this and then I'll get that. That's the linear, physical, limited 3D experience. In other words, it's not about that. It's about imagine, affirm, assume, and be it. It's about giving it to yourself, then being it, and then feeling the love and the gratitude and the conviction of fulfillment. That's the feeling of wish fulfilled. That's the state of wish fulfilled. Being it. Of course you're going to feel things. You're going to feel the love and gratitude and conviction of that fulfillment. It's already there. Remember, desiring is not a bad thing. Desiring is that divine urge to express yourself as source energy. It's the human experience of that divine urge. What is the divine urge? The divine urge is life. Life to know itself as life. Life to be more life. It's that great isness of reality to know itself as that isness of reality. God to know itself as God. The desire is a good thing. It's the human experience of that divine urge. To know and be aware of itself as awareness of being. Think of this. It's the first expression of or manifestation of that awareness as God's Son is that I am awareness. The first expression of that divine urge of life, to know itself as life, to create more life. The first manifestation of that great isness of reality, of God, is the Son, or the I am awareness, God's Son. And then you, as God's Son, have that same desire or divine urge to know yourself as that I am awareness. Let me show this to you like we never have before, because this is going to clear up that question on desire. You have God, source, life itself, pure awareness. And that isness of reality, that Lord of Scripture, that one source, that one life, that one pure awareness, that one consciousness has the urge to live and exist. That's the urge. That's what desire is. That's the source of all desire. It's the will to live, the will to exist. I call it the divine urge, but that's really what it is. It's God's will. That's what God's will is, the will to live, to exist. That's the urge, right? And then the first manifestation of that great isness, of that great pure awareness, the great I am, right? That great urge to live and exist is God's Son, I am awareness. So that urge to live, to exist, that divine will, that will to live, becomes a divine urge to know itself as awareness of being. It's now the desire to be. Do you see it? That's God's Son. That's the first manifestation of God, that I am awareness, to become aware of itself as awareness. That's the divine urge. But it comes from that will to live, that will to exist, the will to have life and have more life and have it abundantly. That's the first one. And then it's God's Son, the divine urge. And then that divine urge is translated in this urge, it becomes an expression as the Son of Man, the I am identity, Jesus of Scripture. Jesus Christ, God's Son, Jesus, the man of Scripture. The divine urge, that's now that divine urge, which is sourced from that will to live or that will to exist, now becomes the divine urge in expression in man, the desire to be something or to be someone, the desire to identify as that I am awareness, to take on an identity, to shift to a reality or identity. That's the Son of Man. But then we have the 3D world personality, the separate limited mind. That's the desiring to be fulfilled. This is absolute fulfillment. But as a 3D personality, we forget that. We get caught in the limitations and the separations. And we desire love in our life. We desire money. We desire cars. All of those desires, there's nothing wrong with those desires. You might want to call them ego desires, but that doesn't make them any less important or real or allowed by God. God allows all desires because it comes from that source urge, or the will to live, which is the divine urge to know itself as awareness of being, which is the divine urge and expression, the desire to be something or be someone, which then gets translated into an experience of lacking things. So that's all it is. Desire the love. Desire the lover in your bed, as Abraham Hicks would say, or the money get the money out of the vortex and into the bank, whatever she's saying there, right? There's no vortex, you're the vortex. But remember, that desiring to be fulfilled comes from that absolute knowing that you're already fulfilled. It's your focus on lack that creates the desiring, but there's nothing wrong with that divine urge. That's the human experience of that divine urge and expression, right? Of that divine urge to know itself as awareness, that divine urge or the will to live or to exist. That's desire. That's the purpose of the 3D experience. Desires and desiring is or are the natural divine urge to live, to exist, to be, and know yourself experientially through the physical experience. Not to fulfill something that you lack, but to be fulfillment, to express the fulfillment that you are. Do you see it? Here, remember, God or source, that the will to live, then becomes God's Son, the I am awareness, the urge or the divine urge to know itself as awareness, as I am. And then that as the Son of Man, the expression of that God's Son in expression, the Son of Man, the I am identity, the divine urge in expression, the desire to be someone or something, to identify as I am. Then you have the 3D personality. Nothing wrong with that either. We're here to have that. That's how we have our physical experience. But it's to know that you're not separate. It's an experience of separation, but you're not separate. The experience of separation is so you can have that experience in time, in space, in change, right? And so you can know yourself as source. So it's not staying in desiring. It's not desiring from lack, but desiring from fulfillment, from the knowing of who you are. Right? But in that personality, when our focus is out there on getting things, instead of giving ourselves as source, as the divine urge is about giving it to yourself, instead of trying to get something from that. Because that creates non-fulfillment, that creates incompleteness, lack, and unworthiness. This is absolute worthiness here. But remember, you can only have this physical experience. The only reason you can have any of that sense of separation, experience of unworthiness, experience of non-fulfillment. The only reason you can have that, the only way that you can have that, I am the way, is that you are absolutely, completely fulfilled, worthy, whole, and complete. Otherwise, you couldn't have that experience of not being it. So have the experience of not being it, knowing that you are it, and then calling forth what part of that beingness you want to experience. Right? Desiring and desires is or are the natural divine urge to live, the will to live, to exist, the will to exist, to be, the beingness, right? And to know yourself, Son of Man, I am identity, physically through the physical experience, the physical personality, as fulfillment. But not to fulfill lack. Right? Hopefully this is clear to you today. It's never been more clear to me. I hope it's clear to you. So desiring in the 3D experience is not to feel lack. That's not the purpose of this, right? That's not the purpose of this. It's not but to express the fulfillment that you already are. Life, awareness. It's to express that. To know, to contemplate, to experience yourself physically as the one and only source of life, or all that is. The divine urge for that one life, that one mind, that one awareness, to be conscious or aware of itself as all that is. It's the great livingness of life. That's what consciousness is. That's what awareness is, to be aware of something, to be conscious of something. It's the Creator knowing itself as the Creator through you. That's why it says in Scripture you were made in God's image. right? In other words, you were made as a creator with that with the desire or the urge to know yourself as life, as love, as the creator, as that one awareness, as that one consciousness. Having the same divine urge as that one being with the creator, being one with the creator. Knowing yourself as the creator of your own reality. That's what they didn't tell you about creating your own reality. That's why this is a must-watch. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for liking and sharing and commenting on the videos. Thank you for being part of our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful, for joining us on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Kearin, our TikTok at Be Something Wonderful, our membership channel. We just had a beautiful second live session, second live event on the membership channel on Sunday. It was beautiful. It's now available for viewing. And we had a membership video that went out that seems to be getting a lot of attention. Check that out, all on the membership channel. If you're a member, check it out. If you're not, there's a link below. Creators, with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude. This is Tom Kearin here in the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. Until next time, we'll see you soon.